Hello, everybody. We are exploring the complex and fascinating world of arranged marriage. Join us as we discuss the traditions, challenges, and evolving perspectives around the Indian cultural practices. Don't miss out on this insightful conversation. I'm Arti Solanki, business coach, real estate broker, entrepreneur, mom, dog mom, and your host at Global Desi Women. Joining me today is Natasha Gandhi, Vinoo Palicha, and all the way from Australia, we have our co-host joining us for the first time is Usha Khatri. I welcome you all, and I'm super excited to talk about this topic today, arranged marriage. And when we talk about arranged marriage, non-Indian people specifically have this idea in their mind that a lot of time I get asked as like, so you don't even know who you're marrying? You haven't seen the guy before? But that's not the case. Those probably would have, that might have happened back in the days, olden times, but not anymore. Not at least not during our times. So it is definitely not that the case. But yeah, so let's get the insights. Vinu, I know that she did not have an arranged marriage. So let's start with that.
Yeah, no, I actually met Amit when I was in college. And when we were that age, I think it was a mixed situation where arranged marriages were obviously happening a lot more. But at the same time, love marriages also were happening quite a bit. So we had, I guess, a few years before I was in college, or maybe like my childhood, which is long time ago. Um, yeah, definitely arranged marriages were in. So yeah, I feel blessed that I got to choose my life partner.
Yeah,
And
yep.
yeah,
Yeah, but I think like when we say arranged marriage, it doesn't mean that we didn't get the chance to pick our life partner because
right,
we
right.
did. I mean, I had an arranged marriage, and I always used to say that, hey, I'm not going to do arranged marriage. Meeting a guy in a 10 minute and then spending the life with him together. That's so bizarre, but I kind of ended up doing that exactly same.
Yep.
Meeting him at the airport for maybe half an hour, like 10, 15 minutes of conversation. And then a week later, I was like, yeah, I think he's the guy. And we got married in 3 months. And here we are after 29 years, still going strong. And it's amazing. It's fantastic. I mean, yeah, sometimes it feels like I wish I was born 20 years later where these kids had they would date, they would live together and everything, and then they can get married. Well, what do you think, Natasha? You would have done this?
No, absolutely not. Um, I mean, like growing up, we'd always hear about like the story of how you met dad, and the entire thing just seemed really taboo to me and my brother. We were like, how can you agree to marry somebody that you've only met for like a couple minutes, and that too, just like passing by at an airport? Like, it doesn't make any sense to us. Because you're spending the rest of your life with this person. And granted, at the time, you guys matched horoscopes and all that, but I think in today's day and age, we look for other qualities like beyond like what our horoscopes would say. We're looking for a life partner that we can we can like match with in person and not just necessarily on paper. So I know growing up, like as soon as I turned, I think like 18, 19, you started showing me pictures of Khatri guys like trying to like arrange, but expose me to the idea of like seeing certain types of guys in the Indian community that had like, I guess, your stamp of approval. And it just wasn't something that ever like intrigued me or interested me. I always like had my mindset from the very beginning that I was going to find my husband on my own. and in very like natural ways. And luckily enough, that's what ended up happening to me and Pratik. I also met him in college, like Vinoo. It's, it's great.
But can I say something to that effect? Like, given how times have changed right now, okay, so certain arranged marriages in the recent years have changed to a point where the parents will introduce the boy and the girl, and then they'll probably go out a few times before they actually decide if they are, made for each other or not. So I think all these apps that exist right now are kind of doing that, right? Tinder and all that. So it's basically, the only thing is that the girl and the boy, they directly connect with each other, but then they are total strangers, just like in arranged marriages. They are total strangers, and you kind of first get to know them online and then decide to meet and then see if you're compatible or not. And then things either stop there or move forward.
I
Yeah.
think I think the only difference with that and meeting somebody online, like through an app, is the fact that there are parents involved. So there's like this extra layer of pressure added to
Uh,
like meeting this person. Like
mm,
both the families already know, like, and then they're constantly like asking questions about how are they going, like why, or just like it's very intrusive, right? Like
True.
everybody's involved in that decision versus like if you're meeting somebody on an app, it's very private. Like it's just between you and them. And if things work out and
Right.
you can progress it that way, like a normal dating kind of scenario versus
Yes.
having families involved. And I think that's the biggest difference.
Yeah. What's your input, Usha?
My input, I had an arranged marriage. I've
Mhm.
been married for last 34 years and had an arranged marriage, but these days things have changed a lot. I mean, there's different ways you can find the partners, with as Natasha was saying on the what you call it, go on the sites and you can, go on there and look for partners and things like that. But end of the day, what I think any marriage you do, whether it's arranged marriage or love marriage or anything, the compromise and things like that, which you have to do and things like that is a big thing. Yeah, whether it's arranged or love marriage.
That's
Right.
absolutely true because it depends on it's not just getting connected, but how you take your journey together makes a lot of
Yes,
that is more important because
important.
it
Yeah,
doesn't matter how you met that person, but
yeah, that's true.
spending the life together, how compatible you are, what understanding you have, how much compromise you're willing to do, and also respecting each other is the biggest thing for me. I feel like
Biggest.
respect is the biggest thing, and then comes compromising and I mean, just accepting the person for who they are is the biggest thing because in my marriage, I know Animesh is a little bit older than me, and he's more mature than I am. I'm not very even at this age. I'm not very mature, but with that said, it balances out, and he's always said, "No, you don't need to change anything about you. I like the way you are. That's the reason we married, you know." And so that gives me that really kind of it makes me feel good because not just about myself, but about our relationship because he's not the kind of person who would say, okay, you have to change. I don't like this. Or when somebody asks you to start changing yourself, then it becomes like, I'm not the same person. You're trying to be somebody who you are not when you're trying constantly to make the other person change. So I think that's the big thing for me as far as marriage is concerned. But when we talk about arranged marriages, we had a very funny story, and I can share with you guys. Um, since I was from Detroit and Animesh was from Houston, one of my aunt was the one who introduced us. And originally, I was hesitant because there was nobody in Houston. And I was like, I've never been to Houston. There was nobody I know. I don't think I want to get married so far. And then they were like, okay, at least let's match the horoscope. And that matched perfectly. And then there was like, oh my God, now again. So then they were like, okay, let's exchange pictures. And so then we exchanged pictures. And the funny thing is that he didn't like my picture and I didn't like his picture. So we both kind of were like, were like, nope. But then still, like Natasha was saying, the parents are involved and they're pushing us. And so then they convinced us to meet. And so Animesh was traveling from New Jersey. And so he had a layover in Detroit and we met at the airport. And it was so funny because it was him, his dad, me, and my parents at the airport. And before 9/11, you could go to the gate. So I was
Yeah.
at the gate with an Indian outfit waiting for him. And it was so, like, now when I think about it, it's so funny. And then we sat down with family for a couple of minutes and then we had a chance to talk with each other. And mainly it was me talking. And if you guys know Anima, she doesn't talk too much. So everything I had to ask, everything I had to say, he agreed to it basically. And I guess that's how I said yes to him. After a week later, we were like, okay, yeah, I
Yes.
guess I'll marry
For,
this
for
guy.
yeah, it's when it's a arranged marriage, and when like if one person is not in the same town and you're from a different country, like me, I was from Australia and he was in India. And like my husband's name is Pradeep, and his sister was here, Jaishri, and she introduced us.
Right.
And like he's India and I'm here, and how do you with this arranged marriage, we didn't say yes or no. We just saw the pictures first, just the photos. That's it. And then I was going to go with my parents to India, and I did go there, and then we met him. And not only him, at the same time doing the arranged marriage, I did see other people, other couple of boys too, to see who I'm going to be settling down with. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
And then I thought, oh no, wait. I went and saw some other 2 or 3 other boys, and I said, oh no, no. And then after waiting for maybe 2 or 3 months, then I went back to Pradeep, your brother, back to him, and I thought, oh, maybe this is the right person for me. And then I thought, before I go ahead, I still want to spend a little bit of a time with him. So we met a few times, and I stayed there in India 6 months. 6 months before we
Yep.
made that decision. Yeah. So it's I think both the love marriage or arranged marriage, as I said before, it has to be compromised, and there are always lots of ups and downs and things like that, whether you do arranged marriage or a love marriage.
So, but
Yeah.
if you have a chance, if you had a chance again, say if we are back again, and do you think you would still do an arranged marriage? Or would
I'd
you?
love to. I would love to do love marriage.
Yeah.
Natasha,
Yeah, I
that's
think so.
again, it's a very different experience. Like,
Yeah.
put it that way. In our age too, we used to like somebody, and the parents would say, "Oh no, 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 you can't do love marriage. You can't do this. You can't do that." And you
Right.
listen to your parents. You end up doing arranged marriage, and yeah.
Yeah,
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 like
absolutely.
we've
Well,
done
did you?
the bunking of the class in college,
Yes, that's right.
go
Yeah,
for
and
movies
yeah,
and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's I guess that's a very different and fun experience to have,
That's true. It's totally,
which we missed. Yeah.
yeah.
And
It's totally a different experience. I think
yeah.
and at that age, especially at that age, it's
Mhm.
totally a different thing. It's, yeah.
And
Love is very, very strong at that time, I think.
yeah, absolutely.
One of the other things I think that really differentiates the experience between a love marriage and an arranged marriage is that, to me, it seems that when you're doing an arranged marriage, the love between you and your partner grows as you're kind of getting married, or like as you're already married.
Yes.
And like still building that foundation after you've already become husband and wife. Whereas when you do a love marriage, that foundation is already kind of set like throughout while you are dating, right? So whenever you do transition into becoming husband and wife, I felt like it was a very easy transition for both of us. We were very like, we knew we were compatible. We've lived together. We've already like gone on trips together. You know, we've done so many different experiences together that being married wasn't so much a challenge as it was like an exciting new experience for
It
us.
was just making it official.
Exactly. Like we were just growing together as a couple versus I feel like you, mom, like you came in to being married with like zero to little knowledge about what was going on. And like as a young adult, not only adjusting to a new place, but a whole new family, and then like having a husband that you barely know anything about, and then like also focusing at the same time energy and effort to build that connection with that person, that seems completely like insane to me. Like that seems super stressful, and it just like a lot.
Yeah, I do agree. It was
Yes.
a lot as a young person in my early, I was barely 21, 22, and it was a lot because the families were different. We were, our side of the family, my side of the family is completely outgoing, very forward, and his side of the family is a little bit conservative, not, they're not very outspoken, they're very extrovert, I'm introvert. So there was a lot of things that I had to adjust, and it was a constantly adjustment for me because like you said, new place, new environment. I was living with the entire family, and we were 6 adults in the house, and it was a lot of adjustments, like everything, like from cooking to every little thing. It was like a new experience. Every day was something new that I was like, okay, oh, we don't do this, but they do this. Okay, this is something new. So it was constantly, changing, evolving, adjusting, and with Animesh traveling a lot at that time. It was a very difficult in the beginning. I won't say it was an easy journey to start out with, but again, he has always been by my side no matter what. If I had something to, vent out, then he would just stay quiet and just listen and not not say a word. So I think that kind of helps a lot because otherwise, I'm not the kind of the person that would just keep something to myself. If I have to say something, I'll tell. And so
Yes.
that helped a lot. And I guess at the end of the day, it's just adjustments and growing, like you said, growing together was the biggest thing. And it was a new, everything was a first thing, right? So it was exciting. At the same time, it was like, oh my God, like some things were like, oh shoot, I don't like this, but okay, you guys do it this way. So, it was a lot of
Yes.
new things for
Yeah.
me.
See, at that time when we used to have, I mean, years back, did arranged marriages, which hardly happens these days. As you said, we had to adjust with the family too a lot.
Hmm.
That was hard when you are doing an arranged marriage. You are trying to adjust with your husband. Then you are trying to. They all used to live with the extended family. You are trying to adjust with the extended family. So that was quite a bit for
Yeah.
us to get adjusted. Like these days is easier. I'm not saying easier, but I mean it's different these days where they, as soon as they get married, they're living by themselves. They just, they already know that person, and they, it's very, very different these days than what we had to all go through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Living with all
And
this.
I don't think this generation can do what we did back
What we
then,
did. That's very true.
because
Yeah.
it's impossible. Even for
Yeah.
me, looking back, if somebody told me, can you do this all over again? I would say, hell no.
But no.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, even love
Mm.
marriages were not that like accepted. Even like when I was in college, most of the times you would hear that families were against the boy, either the boy's family or the girl's family, for
Yeah.
whatever reason, maybe the religion, the caste, or the social status, so they didn't have it that easy too, the couples who were, falling in love. But again, times have changed. I can say I was blessed. I was lucky that, neither Amit's family nor my family were against anything. The only thing is that initially, yes, I did not disclose. We were not that open where we could just go home and say that, hey, I'm dating so and so, or that
Yeah.
we plan to
True.
get married. Although in those days when you dated someone, it was understood that you are going to get married. You're not just dating to find out whether you're compatible or not. You knew that, yes, this is going to end in marriage. So yeah, and when, like, how, if you go back years ago to see how this arranged marriage has evolved, oh my gosh, it's a lot different, even in India.
Yeah.
Even in India,
Yeah.
even arranged
Yeah.
marriage is a lot different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before it was like a 5-minute thing, and I know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
if
that's it. Yeah.
if Bhavna was here, she would have said that in like 5 minutes. She served a tea, and then she was like, "Okay, yeah, I'll marry him."
Oh,
Yeah.
did she have that? Really? She had to do that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
She had an arranged marriage, and Rajesh was from here, and
Okay.
yeah, so she basically, they came over and they talked for a few minutes in the room, and and that's it. And she said yes, and then in 10 days they got married. Within
Oh,
10 days,
wow.
they
I have
got
a,
married.
I have a question. I
And,
okay.
and look at that. It's just happily married.
Yep.
Yeah.
My perspective, I always like told myself, like, whenever I'm like thinking about like dating a guy or like talking to a guy, I usually know within like maybe the first couple of months whether this guy is like someone I could see myself with long term. Would he fit into my family? Would he, like take care of me, be there like for everything, right?
Mhm.
And so like when you guys are doing arranged marriage and making these decisions within a couple days timeline, what are the questions that you're asking these men to validate your thought process, and then also like kind of get yourself on board to just like pull the trigger and marry this person without
Yeah, I can say that the only thing I asked him, and the things were going on in my head, was like, for me, the priority was that he has to be social, because I'm a very social person. I had to come to a new town, so only thing I was thinking was like, does he have friends? Is there going to be somebody like, I can connect with besides the family, obviously, because the family we were all living together. But besides those, just a few general questions, I think all I looked for, that he was good looking, he was making good money, he had a good job, he was educated, and that's about it. And the rest was just a la la land, I guess.
So what did he say about his
personality.
social life that, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, wouldn't you say personality is a huge thing in a relationship, because that's the person you're spending the most amount of time with. Like, you want to make sure that your personality is matched and like you guys can have like good conversation and stuff. So like, was that not a consideration like
No, no,
whenever?
yes, of course. I mean, we did talk, and within that time, I could already see that our connection was going good. Although he is not a man of a few, he's a man of a few words. So, but he still made me feel like very comfortable, very um I could just tell that he was the right person. And I know Usha's father-in-law, who just passed away a few days ago, bless his soul, but he used to tell us growing up, when we were all unmarried, he used to say, when you meet the person, you will know, because your bells in the heart will ring.
Yeah. That
You
is good.
will really, really know that
Yeah.
this is the guy. As
Yeah.
soon as,
Yeah.
without even talking, without even
Yeah.
just seeing that person, you'll be like, okay, there are the bells are ringing, and this is the guy. And I used to
Yeah.
laugh about it, but until Natasha, honestly, when I saw Dad, before even talking to him, I felt like, oh my God, this is the guy for me, But then when I
That's what I
talked
was
to him,
asking.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking you, what did he say for one of your preferences of him being social? What did he say to make you
He
believe that he was
BS.
social?
He BS everything.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying, right? Like how you can't validate anything anybody's saying within a couple days. Like you have to spend
Yes.
time with
Couple
them.
of days, within minutes.
Within minutes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But the thing was that for me, I did make a point where I told them that I have to come and see where you live and who your family is, and before getting married, although they had proposed that if I do want to come, which was kind of like out of norm because nobody does that, coming and visiting the guy's family and staying with him, like staying in the same house before marriage, which is not normal. And but I did wanted to do that and they agreed. But the only thing was that after our I came in, I think I flew in on a Tuesday. On a Friday, we got a court marriage done. And that was their condition that if you come in, then on Friday, we'll do the court marriage. And which I did, like a legal marriage was done. And so, which I didn't mind because when I spent those 3 days with him, I was like, yeah, this is what I really wanted. If it was any doubts in my mind, I would have not done it on that Friday. But yeah, in 3 days, it sounds pretty crazy now that how it was done, but yeah.
And Usha
Yeah,
Mama spent
your
like 6
bell,
months,
right?
right? Like she had 6 months. I think that's like a decent time frame. But like I'm curious, like Vinoo Auntie, you did love marriage, but like how long did you guys date before you guys were like
Actually, well, let's see. It has been, so we've been married for 33 years and add 5 years to it, so that 38 years. Um, we were together for 5 years before we got married, but 2.5 years if out of that five was spent apart because he came to US and I stayed back in India. So we got married after I came here. I followed him here, got married over here. So yeah, we were officially 2.5 years, but apart two and a half more. So 5 years in total.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah, we
good.
had, yeah. And then plus we were in college, so we hung out a lot.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was skipping my classes and
Yeah.
just hung out after college hours and went out restaurants to eat and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, we definitely in those days couldn't go out on trips and stuff, but yeah, we did. We hung out as much as we could and talked on the phone a lot.
Yeah.
So
that
It's
seemed like
even
a normal experience to me.
yeah.
That seemed normal.
but that was all you were allowed to do. Plus, like I said, our families did not know then, so we couldn't openly hang out or go out in the evenings. Evenings were out of the question.
Yeah. But see, even for you guys, although you guys say that, oh, we date and this and that, but you still, like you said, you still know the person within few minutes that, okay, this person is going to be the right or it's not, right? It's not like you hang along for a couple of weeks or stuff, and then you're like, okay, yeah, no, this isn't working. You can figure out, and that's the main thing. And I feel like even though it was arranged marriage, I feel like it kind of was, it has its own pros and cons, right? So for us, I feel like if Usha would agree to me, for us it was more like we we take one step at a time and knowing that person, because every day we are discovering about each other something new.
New.
Right.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
the difference though is that you're kind of dating while you're already married, so there's no out. Like when you're dating for like a love marriage and you find out things about the person that you don't like and then like realize you wouldn't want this in a relationship, you can back out. Like you can go find somebody else. For you two, you could not do that. You're like, I'm stuck with this person whether I like it or not.
So
Yeah.
here I feel I'm like an in between you two, because for Arti and Usha, they're more of the arranged marriage more towards that. Natasha
Yeah.
is today's generation, so she's had the dating and all that, and going on trips and actually living together before getting married. And I feel like during my time, it was, even though you had love marriage, it was still a risky thing, because love marriage, you are always meeting outside, so everybody's on their best behavior, and you don't know that person. In spite of being in a relationship, you don't know that person until unless you get married. So
Mm.
it's like
True.
many times, yeah, it did not work out every time, because after you get married, you find out that, oh, okay, so this is your true personality. This is how you really live. This is what you really feel about this, and this is how you really feel about that. So it could go either ways with love marriage during my time.
I
Yeah.
guess
Yeah, I agree.
like
Yeah, I agree with Vinu, because before it was different when you were doing a love marriage. Like this, they start living together too.
Correct.
But what time that Vinu you did it, it was
Hmm.
different because you are meeting outside and not. They never stayed together and spend the time
Yes,
in the same house. Nothing like that. See, again,
correct.
that love marriage and this time's love marriage is two different
Very different.
things.
Yes,
I would say
very different.
yours is still more like 70% like us, because although
Yeah,
you dated, you still
yeah,
don't really know the person, the family, and everything. So it's
yes.
pretty much not to the extent what I went through, but at least pretty much close to what.
Correct. I mean, you did know, because you always have that feeling, right? You always know if there's something off with that other person, or if you just don't feel what you should feel. Then yeah, there were many relationships that broke after a few months or a few years. But still, yeah, it was a new experience. When you get married, it was like living with a new person.
So
Yeah.
I have a question then. Because you guys had that experience, do you think, Auntie and my mom, do you feel like that was the reason why you were so lenient with your children in on like living with their boyfriends before marriage?
No,
Do
actually, I would say that I had always encouraged you and Kishan to find your own partners. We've always been
Not
very open-minded about
women,
that.
more about like living together, like
living together thing?
because
Yeah.
I didn't really even ask you.
Did we? I was just gonna say, did we have a choice?
I literally came home one day and I was like, I was moving from Dallas back to Houston. And I was living with my parents for a couple months at the time. But after my Dallas lease was ending, I just kind of told you, I didn't even ask. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go live with Brother now.
The only thing I think I told you at that time was that is, do you really think is this the guy for you? Then go ahead and do that, because then you really need to know this person. But if you're not very sure about this, then just don't do it, you know? And she was like, no, I think he's the guy. So we were pretty cool about it. We didn't mind at all, because I think without like without living with that person, you can't you can't know that person, because everything from how they wake up, how they're what kind of coffee or tea they have, or how clean they are, or how dirty they are, or what their habits are. You can only know all these things when you live with somebody, otherwise you can't.
Yeah, but there even after that, it's like it's always an adjustment though. I mean,
Yeah.
unless and until there are some serious issues, yes, it's a concern. But other than that, little things you always have to adjust. It's like Seema auntie says, you're never gonna get 100%. You're always gonna have
Yeah.
60, 70. So
That's true.
there's always gonna be some adjustment, some compromise.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the only thing I always hesitated about this situation was like we were okay because we knew that our kids are matured enough to make those kind of decisions. They were at the right age, but there was always a concern because in spite of living together, you can after 6 months or a year realize that okay, this is not working out, and then you can go separate ways. So that can always happen, so that's always a concern. But other than that, uh, we were always positive. After, of course, when they decided, Ria and Sanchi decided to live together, we already knew the boys, Dave and Nikhil, well enough to know that yes, they are probably it. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, we to answer your question, no, we I don't think Amit and I we hesitated in that respect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's funny
you-
because when you said Seema, yeah, for a second I was like, what? Who's Seema? It's like
It's
Seema from
Indian
Mumbai.
matchmaking,
And then
yes.
Seema from Mumbai.
Seema from
Mumbai,
Mumbai.
Yeah.
and
I think the only
the thing is like even though we had like a love marriage and we were dating everything before, I completely agree, like it was still an adjustment when we started living together. And I
Yes.
remember like week 1 or 2 after living with Pratik, I like called my mom and I was like, I'm so sorry I took all your stuff for granted of like cleaning up after everybody else in the family. Like now I'm doing like other people's dishes, other people's laundry. I'm like, I hate this. Like, what is going on?
I was so happy to hear that when she called
Hear
and
that?
said that to me.
Yeah, bottom line is, I guess you can, never be sure of anything. It's just
Anything,
you're
yeah.
lucky to have what you have in spite of having either arranged or a love marriage. Because love marriage things can go wrong too in a big way. And of course,
Yeah.
arranged marriage also, because you literally are marrying strangers.
Yeah.
Have no idea. But yeah, y'all did well.
Yes. The only other thing when they were living together, I told them, I said, I told her and I also told Keishan, I said, the only thing, my condition is that please don't make me a young grandma. That's the only
Yes, Natasha, she said it.
but now I'm ready for it, so it's okay.
Ah, there you go.
Okay.
Good news coming soon.
How do all your topics back here?
They have to, right? No, but I think it's all about, how we take it, whether it's a love marriage or an arranged marriage. At the end of the day, it's sometimes, like you said, Vinu, sometimes it's luck how the person
It
is.
is.
And no matter how many horoscopes you matched or how many people you knew, or you knew the family or what the background is, sometimes it might not work and sometimes it might work. So, and I feel like there is no, I'm glad that Indian community is coming out of that taboo where, oh, once you married, you stuck with that person till you die.
Have
And
to make it
that
work.
is, yeah. So that we're slowly, I'm so glad that we're slowly coming out of it because sometimes it just doesn't work. And then you don't
Yes.
have to kill yourself to do that.
To
You
live,
know,
yeah.
you come on, it's not the end of the world. So
Yes.
now I think before, even we've seen in Indian news and where even in abusive relationship, the woman is always the parents would be like, no, you have to make it work. Maybe there's something wrong with you. You're not doing the right thing. But that's not true.
Yeah.
That's
No.
not how it's supposed to be. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad that Indian community, Indian mindset has been changing and evolving in that case. And also about the intercaste marriages. Now
Oh,
it's
yeah.
becoming a little bit more ease, I would say, in some of the communities, not as much, at least in India, you see some places still it's a lot of the parents are very strict about getting their kids married in another community or another caste or another, status, like you said. But we're slowly and steadily changing and hope for people growing as they're getting educated on
Yeah.
these topics and hopefully whether it doesn't matter whether you're doing arranged marriage or love marriage, just hope that both the partners are 50-50. It's a 50-50 partnership. You both have to work together, both have to adjust together and love and grow together, and that's all it matters. But being that said, ladies, would you like to say a few words before we end the podcast today? And this was really fun.
Who's going?
Nothing.
No, that's
You
all.
go, yeah.
Yeah, I'll add that as I said before, and as you just said, that it's a matter of luck. But yes, as long as you're compatible, you definitely not, you don't want to meet your twin, you don't want to be with your twin, you have to have some differences, variety in life. So as long as it's all, balanced as well, and you're compatible in everything else, and you respect each other, and you understand each other, I think it doesn't matter whether it's arranged or love. But yes, arranged, I still till date, I definitely wouldn't want to go in complete arranged marriage. But yes, if it is, through someone, and then you get to know the person, and if you get a chance to, I guess in today's day and age, live together, then yeah, well and good.
Yeah, well said. Yep, absolutely. Thank you all ladies for coming and joining. Thank you, Usha, for joining us all the way from
Thank you.
Australia. I truly appreciate
It
that.
was,
Thank you,
it was
Vinoo,
good.
Natasha,
Thank you.
and we'll come back with another episode with another topic. And thank you, our audience, our people, all the audience for tuning in. We would love your support. Send us message if you have any questions, or if you want us to discuss on any other topics. We are all ears, so please let us know. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.